My name is Tomasz Gogosz and I am Business Development Director in DataPolis. Our company is producing a great business management tools for SharePoint since 2008. We produce DataPolis Process System, which is a graphical workflow editor for SharePoint on-premise, and DataPolis Workflow 365, which is a mirror tool for SharePoint Online. With our tools, you can easily, using drag and drop methods, create workflow and use them in SharePoint environment without great user interface. Today, I would like to show you the basic idea of DataPolis Workflow 365, which is, like I mentioned, a tool for SharePoint Online. I will show you how to create workflows in our designer and how to use them from the end user perspective. So let's get started.
I would like to show you a very simple invoicing approval workflow. For that, I have created a basic SharePoint website with an invoices list. On that list, I have added just one column, comments, that I will use in my presentation. Before that presentation, I have also added DataPolis Workflow 365 app, and I did all other required steps to install this app. About the installing app, you can find everything on the datapolis.com on the DataPolis Workflow 365 documentation. So let's get started. Right now, I will add a new workflow. So I'll go to List ribbon and I will click DataPolis Workflow 365 button. Here, you can see a list of the workflows on that particular SharePoint list. I will click New Workflow right now. Let's name it Invoicing. OK. Right now, our HTML5 designer is loading. This is HTML designer, so you can use it on any browser you would like. Our designer has loaded. On the top, you can see a ribbon with some configuration options like saving, deploying, etc. On the center area, you can see the design area of the workflow. On the left, there is a toolbar with some options that you can drag and drop on the design area. The first most important things are the red and the green dots. The green dot is a start state and the red dot is an end state, as this is state machine workflow. So what I will do right now is add the states to create a workflow. Our invoicing approval will be two steps. So the first step will be some kind of verification. So we will be able to say that invoice is verified, verification. And the next step is acceptance. So we may accept or reject our invoice. So let's say acceptance. What are states? State is something where workflow states and waits for some user interaction. Between the states, you can move with actions. So what are actions? Action is something that can be invoked automatically, like the initial action which is invoked when the workflow starts, and workflow goes from the start state to the first state, the verification. Or action can be invoked by the user. So the user may say, for example, that he has verified the invoice, verified. Or the user may say that he accepts the invoice. Accept. Or reject. Reject. As this is state machine workflow, one of the most important things is that the user may also say, when he, for example, is not able to make a decision, that he would like to get some more information. Let's say request for more information. And the workflow will go back to the previous state, to the verification. So what you can see right now is the business layer of our tool. If I will ask you to draw a business process on the paper, you will probably more or less draw something like you can see here, a boxes with an arrows. So what next? There are more layers in our tool, the more technical layers. So the next things are forms. Before I will create a form, I will add some variable. I would like my user, when he requests for more info, to tell me why he's requesting. So to provide some comment. So let's add new variable comment. And let's go to the request for more info action, to the launch form. And here, from the available variables, you can drag and drop interesting variable, and then on that form, user will be requested to provide it. You can configure how it should look like. I will just configure a single line of text and nothing else. You can configure some other types of controls. Okay, so we will ask a user when he chooses action request for more info to provide a comment. So what's next? We would like to save it somewhere, because when the workflow goes from the state to state, you would like this workflow to do something. So let's go to the activities layer. And here you can drag and drop some activities that workflow will do when he's going from state to state, like some if activities, like some sending email, or some permissions activities. For this particular example, I will just use edit item activity. And I would like to edit the current item. Of course, I can edit some other items, depending on me to choose a list and list item ID. And I would like to edit a comments field. And what I would like to put here. I can, of course, write something from my finger, but I would like to use a lookup. Lookups are our data source layer. They are very powerful. You can get the data from the SharePoint, from the list item, from the current, or find on some list to find some basic or some filters. You can also get data from the workflow data, like workflow roles or actions. You can, of course, use workflow variables, which I will use just in a second. And also you can use the functions, like some text functions, like date functions, like math functions, or even data sources like calling REST service or JSON functions. I would like, just right now for the presentation, to put a comment variable that I will get to the form here in the edit items to be saved to the current item comments field. So that's all. So I have just created my very simple workflow. I have added two states, a few actions. In the action request for more info, I have added a comment variable and edit items activity. So let's deploy my workflow. Okay. My workflow is successfully deployed right now. So I will open in the next tab the page once more. And on the list invoices, I will add a new invoice, new item. Let's add invoice 01. Okay, save. My workflow is starting right now, so let's refresh the page. You can see here there are a few new columns that have been added to that list. The first, the simplest one, is the invoicing column, which shows the status of the workflow, like starting, in progress, finish, etc. The next column is the state column, which shows exactly the state workflow is right now. The verification, that's the state. Let's go back to the workflow design that I have added here. So my workflow has started from the start state through the initial action and went to the verification state. And the third column shows an action. Let's click on that column. And here you can see a valuable action. So there is verified. That's exactly the action. Let's go back to the workflow design that I have added here. So I can right now click on verified action, and my workflow will go from verification state to the acceptance. So let's click it. But before, let me show you how else you can choose an action. You can go to the items ribbon, and here also you can click and see available actions, verified, and you can go to list item, display form, and here also there are workflow actions, so you can click it, and you see verified. But let's go back to the list, click on the drop-down actions, and choose a verified action. So right now is loading the default action launch form, and you can see there is a header and the footer which you can change, the workflow design, and you can add some fields here to be requested for the user, which I have added to this next section the request for more info, which you can see later. So right now let's confirm the action. My workflow is going from state to state right now. You can see the changing state. So let's refresh the page. And you see my workflow went to the acceptance state right now. So let me click the actions column, and you see there is available action: accept, reject, and request for more info. That's exactly the actions that I have created in my workflow design: accept, reject, and request for more info. So let me click request for more info. And here in the request for more info, you can see the comment field. So let me write some comment. This is my comment. And click confirm. And you see my workflow once more is changing state right now. So let's refresh the page. And you see we have refreshed the page, and we are now in the verification state again. And the comments field of the item was filled with "this is my comment" through the edit items activity. When I click on the actions, you can see there is again a verified action. So we are back in the verification state. So let me click on the in progress. And here you can see the whole workflow history: the initial action, the verification state, the verified action which have been launched by me, and then we went to the acceptance, and in the acceptance I have here the request for info. And the list administrator will see also the details like from fields values, you see comment, this is my comment, and the activities history, that there was an edit items activity which edited the current item, and in the fields values, the comments fields was filled with "this is my comment." So let me come back for a second to the workflow design. You probably would like to allow some users to do something in your workflow, to launch some actions, and some users should not launch some actions. For that, we have roles. By roles, you can show or hide particular actions in particular state to particular users. So let me add a role, let's say director, and you can drag and drop that role to some particular actions. And right now, only people in the role director will be able to launch actions, accept, reject, or request for more info when workflow will be in the acceptance state. So how you can put some people in the role? There are two ways. There is a statical way, so we can just double click on the role, search for some user like me, and just drag and drop that user here. That's one way. You can drag and drop also a SharePoint group here. But there is other way, which is dynamic. You can go to any action, to activities, and there is add to role and remove from role activities. And through that activities, you can dynamically add the people to some particular role, like to role director. I can add someone that I will write from my finger, that's me, or I can use a lookup. So I can put in a role, for example, someone that is, let's say, in the created by field of the particular item, or for example, I can get someone from the data sources or from some function or from workflow variable, whatever. So you can dynamically add some users and remove some users from the role. So you can create a role, for example, responsible by, and choose on some action that people in the role and put that in the role, or remove that later and put some other in the role. So there is fully configurable that you can statically or dynamically edit the roles and show or hide actions for some particular users. So only that user which are in your role will be able, when they click on the actions dropdown, they will be able to see that actions. And of course, you can drag and drop more roles to some actions, so you can mix that in any way you would like. So that's basically all I would like to show you right now in that very short basic presentation. There's of course a lot of more functionalities in our tool that you can use. You can learn about them on our documentation that is available on datapolis.com, or on some other movies that are available on our page, or you can also just contact us directly and we will help you to more understand our product.
Right now is a good time to note all of your questions. Please send those questions to sales@datapolis.com and we'll answer them in our meeting. Thank you for listening and see you soon.
I would like to show you how to create and use a very simple workflow invoicing approval in DataPolis process system. For this, I have created a basic SharePoint website with an invoices list, and on that list I just created one column comments that I will use in my presentation. But before we will start, we need to activate features that allow us to use a DataPolis process system on that particular website. For this, I will go to Site Settings, Manage Site Features, and here I will activate two features, a DataPolis Column Protector and DataPolis Process System. Now we can go to Invoices list and start creating a workflow. Firstly, I will go to List ribbon, and in the List ribbon I will choose DataPolis Process System Settings. That opens a page with a list of workflows on this particular SharePoint list. In the bottom, I will click Create Workflow. Here, I can write a name of the workflow, let's say Invoicing, and let's confirm. Right now, the workflow is being created and our HTML5 designer is opening. As I mentioned, this is HTML5 designer, so you can use it in any browser you would like. On the top of the designer, you can see a ribbon with configuration options like saving, deploying, some tools, etc., importing, exporting. On the center area is the design area. On the left is a toolbar with the tools that we'll use on the design area. The first things you can see when you open the designer is a green and red dot. It's a start and end state, because this is a state machine workflow. Right now I will create a very simple invoicing approval workflow. I will create two states because we'll have a two steps invoice approval. The first steps will be some kind of verification when users can verify if that invoice is a really invoice and if he has everything that it needs to have. So let's say verification, and I will add second state, acceptance, when user can accept or reject the invoice. So what are states? States are something when the workflow states and waits for some user interaction. Between the states, we can move with actions. Action is something that can be invoked by the user or can be invoked automatically. Like the first action, when the workflow starts, it goes from the start state to the first state. And then in the first state, we can have an action, let's say, verified. So the user may say, okay, I just verified the invoice. And from the acceptance, you can have, let's say, action accept, that user will say, okay, I accept that invoice. Or you can have action reject, so user may reject that invoice. Reject. Okay, but what else? There is some situation when you need to get some more information because you cannot say that I would like to accept or reject the invoice. So because of that, we have a state machine workflow. You can have an action that goes back to the previous state. And let's name that action, let's say, request for more information. Okay, so what's next? What I just showed you is a business layer of our tool. So basically, when I will ask you to draw a business processes, you will more or less draw something like this. You will draw boxes with arrows. So what else we have more than that business layer? We have several technical layers. The first thing we have is a forms. So when a user chooses an action, he can fill a form. So when, for example, someone says request for more info, he can fill a comment when he will write why he's requesting for more info. So for that, we'll go to variables, and we will add a new variable when we will store our comment, and I will name that comment. Okay. And let's go to the request for more info action. And here on the right, we have a launch form. So let's click it. And there is several ways of creating a launch form. The first simple way is the quick form, when you can just drag and drop a comment variable to your form. And right now, the user will see that comment variable on the form. The next is the HTML form, when you can edit the HTML of a particular form. You can have an info form, when you can use an info form instead of raw action form. You can have a custom form, when you can use your custom developer form with Java SDK, or you can have no launch form. So you will just click and let's say accept, and your workflow will just move to the next state. But we'll use a quick form. I just drag and drop a comment, and I can configure how this comment should look like. So I can configure the name, the description. I can configure the field type, like single line of text, multi-line, choice, like drop-downs, numbers, date time, people pickers, checkboxes, and even custom field control, so which you can create using our SDK. But I will just create single line of text. I can also configure JavaScript, and I can also configure some interaction between fields, like cascading drop-downs. But for that presentation, I'm just using single line of text. Okay. Okay. So I just added a comment variable to the request for more info action. I also would like my comment to be saved somewhere. When the user will fill that comment, it will be saved to the workflow variable, but then I would like it to be saved to the item field comments, which I prepared, and I mentioned you about this before. So for that, I will go to once more to the action and click activities. And here you can see the activities layer, the technical layer of our tool. We have a lots of activities you can use, like if activities, like some sending emails, like changing permissions, like site list activities, like list item activities, like editing, copying, moving items, like Office activities, like opening and editing Word and Excel files, like even connecting to the cloud, to Dynamics CRM, to Office 365, and to SharePoint Online. In this presentation, I will use just very simple edit items. I will choose to edit the current item. And in the field values, I would like to edit the comments field and write it. And what? I can write, of course, something for my finger, but I can use a lookup. Lookup is our data source layer, very powerful when you can get the data from the whole SharePoint, like some list, items, or you can search for some items all first. You can count items, you can use some conditions, you can sort that, you can get it from the current list, older lists, from the site collection, so we can get the data from nearly the whole web application. But also you can get some data from workflow data, like workflow information, some URLs, like workflow actions URLs, like workflow states, etc. You can use, of course, workflow variables, which I will use just in a few seconds. But also we have tons of functions, like text functions to manage text, like splitting and substrings, finding something text, like date functions, so like now, modify day, day of month, day of week, etc. Like math functions, like round, converting to a number or calculating. So we can even put a mathematical expression which it will be calculated, like data sources, like SQL, Active Directory, calling REST or software services, and a lot of else functions. What's important, you can use a lookup inside a lookup, and you can merge lookups with no limits, so it's very powerful. Right now, I will use it as a comment variable and click OK. Okay, so that's all. I just created my very simple invoicing approval workflow. I just put the two states, connected them with few actions. In the request for more info, I just put a comment variable to the form, and I put an edit items there. So let me deploy my workflow. My workflow is deployed right now. So I will open a new tab, my website, go to invoices, and right now you will see how it looks like from the end user perspective. So let's imagine I'm adding a new invoice. Of course, in the real life, it will have more properties, maybe a custom form, etc. But I would like to simplify the situation, so I will add a very simple invoice. Let's say invoice 01, and that's all. My workflow is starting right now, so let me refresh the page. And you see the first column that was added. It is invoicing column. It shows the status of the workflow, like starting, in progress, finished, etc. And after the next refresh, you see the next column, invoicing state. And it shows the exact state of the workflow where it is right now. So you see the verification. So let's go to our workflow definition. And you see my workflow just started from the green dot, and through the initial action, it went to verification state. So right now from verification, I may click the verified action. So let's see how to click an action. When I click on the three dots, you see invoicing here, and here is verified. That's my action, verified. I can also go to ribbon here and see there is workflow actions. That also my action verified. I can change the icon and I can change the tooltip. And when I go to item view, I also can click an action in the top. There is also in ribbon my action verified. And if you would like, we have also an out-of-box web part which you can put just above your list item with the buttons that are dynamically loaded and shown here for the actions. But let's go back right now to invoices, and I will click on the three dots, verified. Right now you see the standard action launch page was shown. You can change here in the workflow design, you can change the header, you can change the footer, you can add some fields here. So it's up to you how it will look like. Let's confirm that action right now. And you see our workflow moved to the acceptance state. So right now let's see what actions we have here in the acceptance state. You can click request for more info, reject, and accept right now. So let's click request for more info. You remember that in request for more info, I just drag and drop the comment variable. So I can write a comment right now. This is my comment. And confirm. So my workflow is coming back to the previous state right now. He's going to the verification state through the action request for more info. And when I click on the three dots right now, you see I can again click verified. So I'm back in the verification state. When I click on the in progress, I will see the whole workflow history of my workflow in the graphical way. So you see there's some workflow statistics, but you can also see that there was initial action, and then we have been in the verification state, and then I have launched the verified action. So we went to acceptance, and in the acceptance, I click the request for more info, and the list administrators will also see the form field values and activities history. So we see there was a comment, this is my comment, and there was edit items activity. When I clicked, when it edited the current item, and the comments field was filled with this is my comment. I would like to tell you a little about one more thing. That thing is who and when should see an action, because probably when we would like to show an actions like verified or accept only to some people. So for example, verified should be only seen by the secretary, and the accept or reject should be only seen by the director. For this we have a roles. I can add a role here in the designer. Let's say I will add the role director. And I can drag and drop that role to the particular actions, like to the accept, to the request from info and to the reject. So right now, only people that are in the role director can choose the actions acted to reject on request from info when workflow will be in the acceptance state. So how to configure who should be in the director action? There is two ways. You can just double click on that and you can statically put someone in the role, like find myself and just drag and drop it to the role. And you can also drag and drop SharePoint groups here or AD groups, but it's a statical way. So the best way is here in the statical way to use the SharePoint groups. The other way is in the any action in the activities. There is a permissions group, and here you have add to role and remove from role activities. So you can configure to which role, let's say to the director role, to put which users. You can put something just writing his login, but you can also use the lookups here. So you can configure to get someone, for example, from current item created by, or from get manager from ID function, or anyone else. You can add more users to the role, you can remove the user from the role dynamically, so you can have a role director where you will put the manager of the current user, or where you will put a director group, or whatever you would like. So it's fully dynamic, so you can remove that roles, you can have a role responsible person which you will add in some part of the workflow, and then later you can change that to some other person. Okay, so that was some basics of the data police process system. And of course, there is a lot of more functionalities in that tool. But for that, I will ask you to watch some other videos to learn that in our documentation, which you can find on datapolice.com, or just to ask questions on the meetings.
Right now is a good time to note all of your questions. Please send those questions to sales@datapolice.com and we'll answer them in our meeting. Thank you for listening and see you soon.